Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. Today we have a sovereign citizen bench trial in Kansas court where the defendant almost gets out of trouble, but then he speaks for himself and removes all possibility of innocence. Now, I still have a slight head cold, so I might sound a bit funny, but I guarantee you that I don't sound as ridiculous as this crayon muncher. So, let's begin.
The gentleman in the jail, what's your name?
I'm here by special appearance, ma'am, and I reserve all my rights and none of them. I am the beneficiary and priority leader.
Stop. I asked you what your name was.
What my name is?
Your name. Do you have a name?
Are you talking to the living man or to the trust?
Which do you want me to talk to?
The trust.
All right. Is the trustee of the trust here?
Yes, she's sitting. That is you, ma'am.
Oh, no, I'm not any trustee of your trust. I don't know anything about your trust.
We
Well,
haven't established the status of the court yet, ma'am.
all right.
Is this
Never
the
mind.
court
We're
of
moving.
record?
Deputy at the jail, are you there?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to save him till later. So if you need to put him back for a while, that'd be fine.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. I believe, Mr. Patterson, that brings up you and Mr. Pelosa.
And judges, standby counsel, I'll whatever the court wants me to do, but I would propose I just leave my screen black and muted until and unless I'm needed.
All right. Well, we will be on the record right now in BU 2026 CR 25 and BU 2026 MR 19. What is that one? Let me look at it. Mr. Patterson, do you know about that case?
I am vaguely aware that there's an extradition case on a misdemeanor, but other than that, I know nothing about it.
Well, let's focus today, first of all, on the traffic or the misdemeanor. So which case are you ready to take up, Mr. Baca, or both?
Your Honor, I do know both are on today. I do think the CR case is going to be the one that takes up most of the time here. The other one's an extradition matter.
All right, so this is not a traffic matter. This is charged as count one, interference with a law enforcement officer, falsely reporting information intending to obstruct law enforcement. Count two, possession of marijuana. Count three, driving while suspended, a second or subsequent conviction. And count four, unlawful vehicle registration. So at this time, we will be on the record in BU 2026 CR 25, State of Kansas versus Gary Michael Pelosa, who appears in person, in custody, and with counsel Darren Patterson. And the state appears by Assistant County Attorney Joseph Baca. I see Sergeant Akers is here. Is he subpoenaed on this particular case?
Yes, he is on this particular case, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Baca, any opening statement?
Your Honor, state would waive any opening statements at this time.
Mr. Patterson, any opening statements from the defense?
Judge, I don't have any part in this, so I'm going to black my screen out.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you probably better. Otherwise, I'll keep calling on you. But before you go, let's talk to well, that's fine. All right, Mr. Pelosa, what's going on here? You're wanting to represent yourself, is that right?
Ma'am, we haven't established the status of this court yet. I don't know you. Do you have a valid oath of office?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, I accept your oath of office and your offer to be my public servant and trustee.
Well, she's not your trustee. An acceptance of her oath of office is neither here nor at the superglue buffet. So we can proceed despite any objections you might have.
I'm not your trustee in the legal sense or in any sense, sir.
You're a public trustee, ma'am.
Call me what you will, but I'm not accepting it. Go ahead.
I would like you to take notice of the notice and demand that this court has received on Monday, and as the prosecution here to provide evidence from that notice and demand.
Noticed in demand, is that what you're saying?
Yes, it was filed on Monday.
Monday, March 22nd. I see that today, no, I see that on March 23rd, that would be Monday. You filed something called Notice and Demand Facts filed by Shelley Flaherty with Loren Court Reporting. Are you claiming to be Shelley Flaherty with Loren Court Reporting? Sir?
No, I'm not claiming that.
Well, that's the only thing I see that's entitled, and it's not. So, fax transmission sheet, date March 23rd, 26, to the clerk of the District Court, Butler County, State of Kansas versus Gary Michael Pelosa, from Shelley Flaherty, Loren Court Reporting, Cape Coral, Florida.
Yeah, that's my notice and demand to the court.
Well, that's 15 pages reportedly by this Miss Flaherty, not you.
I signed it.
Then why did you make demand? Okay. All right, go ahead. What do you want me to consider in this document that doesn't seem to have any Kansas authority in it, does it?
Yes, it does.
Okay, well, you make your argument and show me where that is. Tell me what Kansas law needs applied and how. Go ahead.
I'm challenging territorial jurisdiction. Is the prosecution ready to provide ownership of the locus and quo of this matter at 114 Highway 54 on Andover?
He doesn't have to show that he owns that.
No, the state has to show that. I don't even see the state here, ma'am.
Okay. That request is denied. Next item.
I reject that premise.
Noted. Does that mean you? Okay, go on.
Okay, I am here by special appearance and I reserve all my rights and I waive none of them. I am the beneficiary and priority lien holder via a Kansas UCC lien registration number 5676382 over the defendant, the Gary Michael Pelosa Social Security Trust, registration number, last four digits ending in 0762. And as a beneficiary and priority lien holder, I have the authority to order you as trustee to dismiss and discharge this court matter case immediately and release my collateral, the defendant, Gary Michael Pelosa, from the custody of Butler County Jail to the streets immediately.
Now, are you Gary Michael Pelosi or are you someone else?
I'm the beneficiary. Gary Michael Pelosa is a trust.
All right. If Gary Michael Pelosi fails to appear, I'm going to have to issue a warrant for his arrest, but that's kind of silly since you're sitting in the county jail. What's your motion or request at this time, sir? To dismiss the case?
I want to process. There's no jurisdiction in this matter, ma'am. There's nothing in the record that showed that this court has jurisdiction. Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2 of the Constitution, which you said you swore an oath to, states, those cases in which a state shall be a party, the Supreme Court shall have original jurisdiction. You cannot sit here being employed by the state of Kansas and judge a case that your employer, the state of Kansas, pays you for. That's a conflict of interest.
It's not a conflict of interest since she has no interest in the matter. If judges did have an interest in court matters, then we would never see someone get found not guilty of the crimes they are being accused of.
Are you a member of the bar in good standing, ma'am?
Sir, at this time, I deny your allegations.
Is your bar number 12910?
Sir, at this time, your motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction is denied, and you can take that up further if you appeal this with the Kansas Supreme Court.
You cannot you cannot deny a motion. Subject matter can be challenged at any time, ma'am, and there's no.
I have jurisdiction, sir, over the subject matter.
There is no subject matter. What is the subject matter? There is no contract.
Denied. Let's move on. What's your next point?
You can't do that, ma'am.
I can.
You're violating your oath of office without any authority, and I have the sheriffs here that can make a citizen arrest to any judge that violates their oath of office. You're violating your oath of office. You do not have jurisdiction. The Constitution says so at Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2.
We'll let the appellate courts decide that, sir. Let's move on. What's the next point?
We don't need it. You can't move on without jurisdiction.
I can and I will. You don't have anything else you want to say before we start this trial?
What trial? You don't have jurisdiction to have a trial.
All right, Mr. Baca, do you want to call your first witness?
I can if the court's ready to proceed, Your Honor.
I'm ready to proceed unless the defendant has anything legitimately he wants to have heard. Doesn't sound like he does.
All right. So, at this point in time, they call the police officer who pulled over the brain donor. I'm going to skip past this part and go directly to the cross-examination by Mary Pack.
Your Honor, at this point, that's all the questions I have for Sergeant Akers at this time.
All right, Mr. Pelosa, do you have any cross-examination questions?
Ma'am, I'm still challenging subject matter jurisdiction. It can't be waived and it must be proven until it is proven the court cannot go on. But I will ask the officer questions under necessity only.
Proceed.
Mr. Akers, when you were following the vehicle in question, did you ever at any time put your lights on?
No, I did not.
Okay, so how did you end up approaching the defendant?
As previously testified, as the vehicle continued westbound on 54 and eventually pulled into the parking lot at the Andover Quick Shop, I had turned in behind the vehicle. At this time, I had turned my lights on and conducted the traffic stop.
You didn't, well, was he driving the car when you stopped the car, or did you stop the car at all?
Yes, he was driving the car when I stopped the car.
So you claim that you didn't have the lights on, but you stopped the car. How is that possible?
In correction to that, I said, as the vehicle pulled into the parking lot is when the time in which I turned my lights on to conduct the traffic stop.
You claim that he had a suspended Missouri driver's license. Do you have any evidence of that?
For the record, when you two are talking about he, we're talking about the driver of the vehicle, also known as the defendant herein today.
That's correct, ma'am.
Okay.
And can you please state the Missouri driver's license
No, no,
number
no.
when you find it?
Let him give one answer at a time.
I apologize. I have, if I can offer a correction to my testimony, that the defendant does not have a Missouri driver's license, but it had one through Kansas and had received actually on December 14th of 2022 had been issued a suspension for failure to answer citation, which was issued through Missouri.
So the defendant doesn't have a Missouri driver's license.
No.
So what other things that you may be wrong at in your reporting then? Because, well, I'd have to testify as a defendant when that comes instead of cross-exam. Isn't it true that did you ever talk to the owner or the trustee of the car?
I talked to an individual that was identified as the owner, correct? Yes.
Well, he was identified as a trustee, wasn't he?
The vehicle was belonging to a trust, and this is the individual who I was explained by you was the owner of the vehicle.
Okay, if you're talking to me as me, I never said the trustee was the owner, because the trustee.
All right, you're either gonna wait and testify, or you're gonna cross-examine the witness now, sir. But you're not gonna start testifying in the middle of this cross-examination.
Was the discussion you had with the driver, was it from his window or was he walking into the store?
As I recall, my initial contact was when you exited the driver's seat and I met with you at the back door of the back passenger driver side door of the vehicle.
Did you say hey or talk to the driver to keep him from stopping from walking into the store?
That's twice now that you've referred to yourself as the driver and not the traveler. Rookie mistake in the soft-set kingdom.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so he wasn't aware you were even there until you said, hey, I want to talk to you for a minute. Is that correct?
I can't speak to where the point in which you identified that I was there and trying to make contact with you.
Okay, so when you talked to the trustee, did he give you evidence that the car was properly registered, and did not he show you anything, send you on the phone that proved the receipt that the car was just registered?
Yes,
Mr. Pelosa, excuse me, Mr. Pelosa, when you talk to the trustee, do you mean yourself or someone else?
The trustee of the trust of the car that was registered in. That's what I'm talking about.
Is that okay?
The car is registered to a trust, and he talked to the trustee because the driver had given him the number, and the trustee had sent the receipt of the registration.
Okay, stop. You're testifying. So you don't mean that you are the trustee of the vehicle. You're not asking him that kind of
No,
question.
I'm not the
Okay,
trustee.
that's fine. That's fine. Go ahead.
I apologize, sir. Can you please restate your question?
Did the trustee show you any evidence that he had registered that automobile?
And so into clarification, the individual that you told me to speak with as the owner, as you've stated at this point, the trustee, was a guy by the name of Carl Long. And I forget the trust or the name of the trust in which the vehicle was declared to have been ownership through. However, Mr. Long did send me records of a receipt, through an image of a receipt that he had paid for registration through the state of Missouri for the vehicle.
All right. So, that's the end of the cross-examination. Now, there is a short redirect that takes place, and I'm going to play that part because it will have some significance later in the video.
Did the plates have current, up-to-date stickers saying that the plate was registered?
I don't recall as far as like the exact stickers, but I recall that the registration was just recently purchased.
Okay, so now, if it was recently purchased, then how can it be not registered?
I don't know that I have the answer for that.
Did you explain to the driver what you found on your computer when you ran the tag?
Yes, I did.
And what came up on your computer?
That the registration was not valid, canceled, removed.
So you saw a receipt that showed that the car had just been registered, but now you're saying that your computer says it was removed.
That's correct. There was.
Do you remember the date that was on that receipt of the registration?
No, I do not.
Would it help me if I help you recollect that was registered just the day before?
Your Honor, at this time, I'd ask the court to have the cross-examination of Sergeant Akers continue to be questions rather than testimony by the defendant. I would object to that question.
Sustained.
Okay, did the registration show a date of the registration being just the day before?
I apologize. I don't have that in front of me. I don't know.
So you don't recall that how did he show you the receipt? Was it sent to you on your phone?
Yes, it was sent to my department issued cell phone.
But you don't recall the date of registration?
All I can recall is that it was before the date of the stop.
Okay.
I can't specify to the date in which it was because I don't remember.
Okay. And you don't have your phone on, you just check that, do you?
No, sir.
Okay. Was there consent given for the dog to sniff out the car?
No, there wasn't.
Did you get consent from the trustee?
As in Mr. Long?
Yes.
No.
Did you have a warrant to search the car?
No, I did not.
Okay, so you just went ahead and searched it anyway.
I searched the vehicle based out of prerequisite case law established in the state of Kansas, which predicates our ability to execute a probable cause search based on a canine deployment, which was done in accordance to established case law.
Okay, what was the probable cause to put a dog on the car?
I didn't need probable cause to deploy the canine.
So the canine operator doesn't need a warrant.
Not in this case, no.
Okay, I have no more questions for this witness.
Well, no, you don't rest because this was the prosecution's allocated time to present evidence. However, the state does rest, and it is now your turn to any defenses that you may have had by speaking for yourself without trained representation.
I would like to call the state of Kansas to the stand.
Hold up. You haven't gotten, it's still the state's evidence. Mr. Baca, any further evidence? Further witnesses?
Your Honor, I have no redirect for Sergeant Akers. I have no further witnesses. I just am going to ask to admit the certified driving record on screen share.
Very well, and do you have a KBI lab report to do the same with?
Your Honor, I do not have a KBI lab report to do the
All
same.
right. All right. Do we have field tests?
Your Honor, there was a field test that was performed, and I can ask Sergeant Akers about that, or if the court would like to inquire.
I'll just have you do it.
Within the affidavit that was prepared and filed by Sergeant Akers, the buds that were found in the vehicle were field tested and provided a positive result for THC, according to his affidavit.
That's for this witness.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why don't you go ahead and ask him about that to get that on the record?
Thank you, Your Honor. Sergeant Akers, did you perform a field test on any of the items that were taken from the vehicle?
I did.
What items did you perform the field test on? Can you describe them?
Specifically, as previously testified, as the green botanical buds, which I suspected was marijuana, that had been found inside of a yellow grocery stack, stuffed into an air intake underneath the hood in the engine compartment of the vehicle.
And do you recall the result of that field test that you performed on those buds?
Yes, I do. It resulted positive for THC, or tetrahydrocannabinol.
And do you recall what the field test unit was that you used?
I don't exactly recall the test unit. That being said, it was a Lynn Pavey tester.
Okay. No further questions on this matter for Sergeant Akers, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Pelosa, any follow-up with what the officer just inquired about, the test?
So you're saying you don't have any test results to show to the court?
No, sir. The test itself is kind of a one and done, or so to speak. And it involves the use of some acidic material. It's an individual test kit, and it's disposed of.
So you're saying you have no evidence to show the court?
That test kit was disposed of, yes.
Okay, I rest.
You think the reason that your car might have been having problems was because you were stuffing illegal drugs in the engine compartment?
Now, Mr. Pelosa, if you want to present any evidence on your own behalf, this is the time to do that. You can call yourself as a witness. You don't have to. Your silence will not be used as evidence of guilt against you. If you do choose to testify, Mr. Baca would have the right to cross-examine you, just as you've had with his witnesses. So at this time, sir, do you have any evidence you want to present?
I have no evidence available to me right now since I'm held against my will in a place I can't get evidence from. So,
You mean you're in the Butler County Detention Facility?
yes, I am.
And you have Mr. Patterson as standby counsel Did you want Mr. Patterson to participate at this time?
I didn't appoint him standby counsel, and I don't know. He's an interloper, and I don't want him even to be involved in my case. I can't get him off of my case because I'm exercising my Sixth Amendment right, and I don't know who has authority to give someone an attorney when they don't want one. And I don't see any authority on who can do that, but it seems like he's stuck to me somehow, and I don't want him stuck to me somehow. I don't want him as backup counsel. He's not doing anything. I know he's there to represent the trust, but that's another issue.
All right. Then please proceed, or are you resting?
I want to call the state of Kansas to the stand. I get a right to cross-examine my accuser. And I want them to show me a photo ID with driver's license or whatever, state of Kansas clearly printed on it, current street address.
All right, sir, do you have a person with a body that you can call to represent the state of Kansas? Sergeant Akers, perhaps?
Well, you can't represent the state of Kansas without presenting Kansas first. To represent something, something has to be presented in the first time.
Well, sir, it is your duty, if you're representing yourself,
Right.
to call your witnesses. If your witnesses won't appear voluntarily, it's your duty to subpoena them. You didn't want Mr. Patterson to subpoena anyone for you or have any witnesses ready, so.
Well, the plaintiff should be in the court, though, or in this hearing. The plaintiff should be here.
Sir, you can either call your witnesses or rest. It's up to you.
I want to testify.
Well, the state didn't call anybody that you wanted to testify. If you want to call witnesses, call them now.
I would like to testify myself.
Very well. Please raise your right hand. I thought you just did, though.
Did I raise my right hand and swear in?
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. Continue.
Okay, I'm going to testify by doing an oration.
All right, you're Gary Michael Pelosa, the defendant herein, is that correct?
Yes, I do represent as the beneficiary, the defendant, but I have a right to testify for the trust. Since I'm the beneficiary of that trust. On the day of question, Officer Akers did not pull me over, did not put lights on, and I was walking into the quick shop on 114 Highway 54 because my car was having problems.
I'm calling because if you weren't trying to be deceptive, then you wouldn't have been hiding your weed in the air intake underneath the hood of your dilapidated road canoe. All right, so we've reached the point at which Judge Webster is about to render her verdict.
That's why I had transmission problems. It was heating up when I was going in the store for water. He said, "Hey, can I talk to you?" And I said, "What do you want to talk about?" He says, "Well, the condition of your car." I said, "What about the condition of my car?" He said, "Well, I ran your plates and nothing came back." And that was very curious to me. I said, "What do you mean nothing came back? It just got registered yesterday." And we went around. I says, "I don't own the car. It belongs to Heirloom Trust, and I've got the trustee. I'll call him up." And he talked to the trustee, and the trustee sent him evidence that the car was just registered the day before. So there is no way that it could have been recalled or said invalid or anything like that. It is still valid in Missouri. And if anybody wants to check, they can call up Missouri and find out that that is a valid license plate that was issued by the state of Missouri. So I don't know where he's coming up with his testimony saying that it came back valid, because he told me specifically that nothing came back on the screen, not that it came back canceled or void. That's impossible. I said, where do you think I got the plate from? I went into DMV and stole the plate and stole the sticker on there. It was a brand new plate with a brand new sticker. And the trustee just sent him on his phone evidence of the registration of it the day before. So I don't understand Sergeant Akers' testimony, because Sergeant Akers is not telling the truth. I was walking into the store, and he just did a fishing exposition because it was packed down because I was moving from Missouri to Kansas. and it had a lot of stuff in it. He asked me if there's methamphetamine in the car. I said, there's no methamphetamine in the car. So he said, well, I'm going to run a dog around your car. I said, you don't have consent. He was on a fishing expedition and he found marijuana. He was looking for meth because he told me he was looking for meth. I have no idea where he found the syringes from. I don't believe there was any syringes in the car because I don't use syringes. He found a lot of bottles of supplements because I'm a health nut. I did tell him about the marijuana being purchased legally in Missouri, and I use it for sleeping. I just happened to bring it over with me uh, in the car, and I told him it was purchased legally in Missouri. So his testimony does not jive with what was said at the location. And I don't know why he would go and misrepresent what was actually said and done at that time. When he asked me my name, I said I am Gary Michael, but I go by Garrison. I said I use Garrison Michael, but my name is Gary Michael. I don't use my family name, so I just use my given name, which is Gary Michael, and my family's name is Pelosi. It doesn't belong to me. So when he asked me what my name is, my given name is Gary Michael, and I go by Garrison. And I use Garrison Michael and without the family name. So there was no intent to deceive him because I told him why. And when he asked me for a social security number, I said, I don't have a number. It's not my number. If you look on the back of the social security card, it says this is property of the Social Security Administration. So it cannot be my property to say I have or I own a social security card. It is the Social Security Administration's card, and that's evidence on everybody's social security card if they turn around and turn it to the back and read it. It does not belong to me, so it's not my card, and I can't testify. I was not trying to be deceptive. I was just being factual. And for him saying that I told him the whole purpose of me not using the family name. I preferred my given name, and I used the name Garrison because I like the full name Garrison instead of Gary. I said my name is Gary Michael, but I go by Garrison Michael. So that's not fake. That's not false. That's my name. It's my given name. I gave it to myself, and my family gave me Gary, but I prefer Garrison. So I have tons of documentation. I've been using it for over 30 years, and he found documentation with Garrison Michael on it that proves that what I'm saying is true. I use that name. I have an alias, if you want to call it an alias, but I wasn't being deceptive. He found evidence that I do use that name with correspondence and legal documents that he found in my car. So I wasn't trying to be deceptive there. Uh, I don't understand why he was so permissive in trying to think. I was told by listening to the other officers there that Missouri was a methamphetamine state, so he assumed that I must have had methamphetamine because my car was loaded down. That's the only thing I can assume for his reasoning of that. I did admit to purchasing marijuana legally in Missouri, and through the sister clause, I thought I would be able to use marijuana in the state of Kansas because I have obtained it legally in the state of Missouri. If I'm wrong in that, I'm sorry. I had no mens rea. I had no intent to do that because I am a health nut, but I have sleeping problems and I have headaches, and that I use it for medicinal purposes. So I wasn't trying to be deceptive.
And this is why you should never represent yourself in a criminal matter. He had the weed charge beat, but then he did something stupid and told his side of the story. There's a reason they warned defendants that anything you say can and will be used against you. Now, Judge Webster did find him guilty on all counts, but the state dropped the no registration charge due to them getting the paperwork needed to prove that the registration was valid at the time. But now let's hear the punishment on his other charges.
All right, at this time, I am going to render my decision on these counts. So you both have had a chance to talk and to present your evidence. Now it's my turn, Mr. Pelosi, to talk. And I would tell you, as I would anyone else, it's too late for evidence. You've told me you've got all your evidence in, so don't interrupt, please. We'll go through the charges. Count 1 accuses you of interference with a law enforcement officer, alleging that you on January 21st, 2026 in Butler County, falsely reported to a law enforcement officer, a law enforcement agency or state investigative agency, any information knowing that such information is false and intending to influence, impede, or obstruct such officers or agencies' duty in violation of KSA 215904, subsections, etc., interferes with law enforcement officer. Well, the evidence is clear from both sides that when the officer asked for identification, he was given a name other than the legal name of the defendant, Gary Michael Pelosa. The defendant gave the name Garrison Michael. Garrison Michael, and he said, the defendant says, I am Garrison Michael. I go by Gary Michael, but I don't use my family's name. Pelosa is my family name. Well, that to me is a clear admission that you told the officer a name other than your legal name. Now, you can go by an alias all you want. You can choose to use the name Garrison Michael, but when a law enforcement officer is asking for your legal identity to investigate a violation of the law, any reasonable person would know to give their legal name. And if you didn't give your legal name, there could only be one reason. Either you're too stupid to give your true name, which I don't find this defendant to be stupid.
You stand alone on that one, Judge Webster.
Or the other reason would be that you're trying to keep the officer from knowing who you really are. That one is one that I believe is true, that you did not want the officer to know your given name. He would have found out that you had a suspended license. He would have found out that you had things going on with your driver's license in both Kansas and Missouri, and that gave you a good reason to tell him that you were someone else. I don't doubt that you go by Garrison Michael as your alias, but your legal name is not Garrison Michael from what the evidence says. And by not giving the officer the name Gary Michael Pelosa, it caused him much obstruction, and he had to spend a lot of extra time going through records to find out dates of birth and names that matched and ones that didn't and people that were dead with that name. But eventually he put enough information together, he was able to figure out your real name. And even then you kind of hesitated by admitting that you were Gary Michael Pelosa. So I find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of count 1, interference by providing false information. Count 2, possession of marijuana. Frankly, when the state rested, I was prepared to dismiss that case. The law is quite clear that field tests will amount to and be considered as probable cause in preliminary hearings where the burden of proof is probable cause proof. But since we're in trial and we don't have lab reports for proof beyond a reasonable doubt, I thought, well, the state missed that one. But then you testified, Mr. Pelosa, and you admitted every which way you could that that was, in fact, marijuana, that you purchased it legally in Missouri, that you used it to sleep, and that you knew that it was marijuana. So you basically shored that charge up beyond a reasonable doubt. So between the state's evidence and yours, I find you guilty of possession of marijuana in count 2.
Well, no, you don't rest because this was the prosecution's allocated time to present evidence. However, the state does rest, and it is now your turn to any defenses that you may have had by speaking for yourself without trained representation.
All right, we are back on the record in BU 26 CR 25. All parties appearing as before. Mr. Bacchus said while counsel and defendant were in conversation that he had an announcement. Do you want to make that at this time, Mr. Bacchus?
Thank you, Your Honor. I just did want to point out, it was pointed out to me by staff that an amended information was filed that did dismiss count 4, the registration. I just wanted to have complete candor with the court that we did prior dismiss that. I believe information was turned into our office.
Interesting. All right, well, there you go, Mr. Pelosa. By taking this to trial, you just got one count to go away. Failure to register your vehicle has previously been dismissed by the state, and I will make it formally dismissed with prejudice at this time, meaning it cannot be refiled. Was there anything else you wanted to say before I pronounce your sentence, Mr. Pelosa?
No, I'm good.
Okay. On count one, interference with a law enforcement officer. Your sentence at this time is a $100 fine and 6 months in the Butler County Jail. On count two, possession of marijuana, no fine, but concurrent 6 months in the county jail. Count three, driving while suspended after a prior conviction, $100 in fines and 8 months concurrent county jail. There will be no sentence on count four as that has been dismissed. Now, all three of these counts will run concurrently. The defendant must serve a minimum 5 days mandatory in jail, but that is covered by time served, it looks like. Likewise, the remainder of his terms will be given credit for time served. So it is possible that he has maxed out his sentence. Mr. Baca, I don't know if anyone has put a pencil to that, or Mr. Patterson. But if he's been there since January 21st, there's a chance he's either maxed or pretty close to that 8 months.
All right. So, he has 12 months of probation with an underlying sentence of up to 8 months, minus the approximate 2 months that he's already been sitting in jail along with a couple of small fines. Meaning that if he doesn't get his underscore together and start acting prosocial, then he's looking at an additional 6 months in jail. And in my opinion, that's a fair sentence given the charges. All right, guys. So, that's the end of the video. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you disliked it, hit the dislike. But don't forget to leave a comment below and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss any of my content. I'm Team Skeptic and I'm out. Here we